How good is it? Fantasy's back, footy's back. We're about a day away, 1 day, 14 hours away from Vegas kickoff. And I'm going to run you through 17 players who are possibly must-haves, good buys, bad buys, or just complete traps. I'm going to start you off with some benchies here. The first one we're going to look at is Couchy. Ryan Couchman, that is. I think he is a good pick. I think he will be in a lot of teams. I think he's highly owned at the moment, 250K. Priced at 20. I don't think he's going to lose you much money anyways. He's, bar that one game where he got the zero, where he got injured, I think priced at 30 minutes is probably what you can expect from him. Probably going to get you around about a 28 to 30, 8 to 10 points of value. I'm going to call on Couchy. I think not a bad buy at all. I think if he does come out and get you that 30, he's going to make you a fair bit of quid. The next guy we're going to have a look at here is Farley. Definitely a trap. He's named at that sixth spot on the bench here and the new bench rules. I don't think he's going to get any game time. I think the only upside we see of Farley if he comes in last minute at centre, which is unlikely, and if there's an injury possibly in the season. I don't think anyone who's currently making a team right now is going to be bringing him in after seeing the team list. I think that ownership is strictly just because he was playing trials. Everyone would have made their team and hasn't checked it since and not taken him out. The next guy we're going to have a look at here is Luciano Leilua. Luciano Leilua. I think he's a pretty good pick. I don't think he's going to be as crazy owned as some of the other guys in this list. I think that one trial game that he had where he came out and scored a 60 is got people a bit hot on him. I don't think that he's a must-have by any means. If you go ahead and have a look at his previous year at second row, we've seen enough of Luciano Leilua to know what he's going to give you. I think that 39 is pretty spot on, to be honest. I think if he comes out and does something what he's done similar years, I think you can expect a bit of value in him. But I don't see him coming out to be that 60 guy every week for sure. 70. That's over a 70-minute average. I think he probably gets a little bit less than that as well. Now they got Sewer there. I don't know that they're going to make Leilua be the 80-minute guy. I definitely think Sewer's going to get the bigger minutes, so expect something around there. The next guy we're going to have a look at is Val Holmes. Definitely one of the best center options we've had over the last couple seasons now. Goal-kicking center for Dragons. I don't think Dragons get better. I think they are going to be pretty close to the bottom of the ladder, so goals isn't going to be a huge thing for them. They do score a bit of points, so he will get a few. But judging how bad the centers are this year, I don't think that he's going to be a bad pick. He might end up in a few teams later in the year, but to start with him, I think that's a bit of a stretch. I wouldn't put him as a bad pick because of, as I said, for his position, he's pretty up there with point scoring, but definitely not someone I'd be starting with. Next guy we're going to have a look at is Haywood. He would have been a bad pick if you asked me about a week ago. I definitely think he is very trappy with his scores and his PPM. The good thing about him is, though, he is going to get those. He will get the minutes. At hooker, he does get minutes. At Dogs, he's on the up. He's a young guy. He's starting to get his role in the team again. I think that's the narrative that people are going to try to convince themselves of, taking Haywood. He's definitely a backup hooker at best, and now that we've got no Cheese in everyone's team anymore, I think he is close to the top of the pack at the top of the list of the backup hookers. I think he has a bit of value. I wouldn't say a lot. I guess you really are hoping for him to come out and improve his game. So it's a bit of a vibe pick on Haywood, but just what he's shown of us the last year, I don't think that he'll be in my team, but I wouldn't steer you away from him as a cheap backup hooker for sure. The next guy we're going to look at is Presto. He always finds a way into my team at some point in the year, most years, for the last two at least anyway. So is he someone you start with? I mean, at second row, he's getting the minutes every week. He's going to get the minutes, but that last year was his highest year on average. So he averaged 57, which is what he's priced at. But previous years, 54 and 52. I think that he will come down a bit for sure. I definitely wouldn't be starting him. And now that he has a round 2 bye as well, you're just picking him because you're either a Doggies fan or you just want to add players to your team that play in Vegas so you can see some scores come up. Yeah, I get it. I miss fantasy as well, but not that much to be starting with Preston, that's for sure. The next guy we're going to have a look at is Critter. Another one that is going to make his way into people's teams just because center is so terrible to pick from right now. Same again, round 2 bye. I get the narrative behind him. Burton's not kicking goals and Critter's going to get them all. But really, he did that last year already at center. He had the goals most of the games. Like, I think this is his number. I think 40 is where he's going to be scoring at, which is what he's priced at. At the start of the year, you're trying to grab guys who are going to make you some money. I don't think Critter's that guy that's going to make you a bunch of cash. But I think he's a pretty safe center to score you that number. So, I don't think he loses a bunch of money. But at 520, I think there are some better midi range guys that have a bit more value. But, yeah, if you're looking for someone safe and goal kicker as well, I think that if you don't want to start with one of those 250K guys or you don't want to get a Herbie, I don't think he's a bad option, but I think there's better guys for sure. The next guy we're going to have a peek at is Purdy. One of the better guys that I was talking about just a second ago is Purdue. I think Purdue's a better option than Crichton. Just based off the draw, like they got Newcastle, Tigers, Gold Coast, and Dragons in the first 5 weeks. At center as well, Purdue's about a 38. Priced at 37, so here's what he's priced at. But he is a bit of an up and comer as well. I think as a player, I think he's really exciting to watch. I think he's a try scorer. He's going to get you those. He's going to get you those attacking games where he can come in and get you, a 50 odd or like these ones here, 60, 71. He definitely can put the points on. I think in this first 5 weeks is where you're sort of banking on this guy to come out, smash these 5 weeks, make you 100K, 150K early. And then you can maybe cash in on that money and move to someone that's a bit more solidified as a gun. But for sure, Purdue at the start of the year here, I think is a great option if you're looking for a cheap center to chuck into your team and quickly get you ahead of the pack in whatever league you're playing in. I just want to move over to the actual team here now because I think these starting 13 are definitely the better picks of the bunch out of these Vegas guys. So in hooker, we do have Marnie. I think the best of a bad bunch out of these Vegas guys for sure. I think with Marnie, I think he will definitely not be an 80-minute guy. I'd say closer to that 65-minute role. In the last 2 years, he's got about a 46, priced at 38. I think when he gets those minutes dropped down a little bit, he'll be closer to a 40, 41 based off that same PPM. I think the narrative behind Marnie is that he's going to come out and he's going to have an increased game. That chip on his shoulder. He got dropped from the Dogs. He's got a new club and he's going to get those attacking stats. Personally, I think it's just a little bit of a stretch of a narrative. I don't think he's all of a sudden going to just find this crazy form at this point in his career. But priced at 480, I think he can get you what he's priced at. I don't see him losing money. I probably see him making a little bit. But with Marnie, I think he's going to be a guy who can come out and get you a really low score a few games in a row, and you're just going to hate owning him. I will literally not be surprised if Marnie comes out, gets you a really low score because all the balls with, Drinky and Dearden and these guys are scoring. They're not doing much tackling because of how easy the draw is. They might be rolling teams. He'll come out, get you a 30. And he's going to be one of those. He's going to be the guy who gets sold the most. I think people are going to be really disappointed owning him, but I definitely think there's a world where he comes out and gets you a decent score. For a backup hooker, I definitely think he's an option. I would not be having him as your only hooker and trying to find a way to get into a Grant or a Brayley. I think that'd be a mistake for sure. All right, the next guy I want to have a look at here is the first middle of the game that we're going to look at from Vegas. It's Toby Couchman. I think Toby Couchman has all the attributes to be an absolute keeper in the game. Like, he has an offload in him. He's a high minute forward. He's playing in a pack where a lot of the guys on the bench don't take a lot of minutes from him. Like priced at 54, averaging 63 at prop last year. Like, will he do that? I don't think he'll do that, especially in the first couple of weeks because they got 4 forwards on the bench. But once Little comes back, I reckon that Toby Couchman's scores are going to start getting back close to this point. I've got him at about a 60. I reckon he can get about a 60 once Little's back on the bench and they just got that 3-forward rotation. I wouldn't steer you away from Couchman for sure. I reckon he is going to be an absolute gun this year. But just that price range is a little bit sticky. I think there's a few guys around that price who are also going to be getting you that 60 point in the middle as well. But the fact that he has the duel, he's playing in Vegas. You want to get a cheeky score early. I reckon he's a good pick. I like Couchman a lot. I reckon he's going to be solid for a lot of teams this year if you choose to pick him up. All right, the next guy we're going to look at is the first must-have of the pack, Hamish Stewart. He gets the lock roll. He usually plays around the 50 minutes at lock. I think that's a pretty accurate representation to what he's going to get this year. Someone probably comes and takes about 25 to 30 off him. Yeah, I reckon that's about it. He's on that 1 ppm, so in pretty much all those games, he's 50, 50, 45, 66. Like those scores are great. I think the 66 is a bit inflated with the try. I think I can expect him to get around about a 45 average in that 50. I think that's a bit more realistic to look at, which is 10 points of value for someone who's 440k. Like that's perfect. I reckon a lot of the good teams are going to have him, and I reckon you'd be silly just to not grab him up. Same again as this guy here, like same price point. And the same story. He's got that role. He's probably going to get you around about a 50 minutes again for Trey Mooney. Off the bench here, let's have a look what his last few stats were. Off the bench, in the 30 minutes, he's getting you a 30. What's that? A 1 ppm. Like, if he can come up to about a 50-minute roll, I'd say the ppm drops a bit to about a 45. But even then, that's still going to be 10 points of value. I think. Same again. You'd be absolutely out of your mind to not be taking someone who has 10 points of value at that price. All the good teams are going to have him. I actually would chuck the VC on him this week. The fact that he's probably going to be one of the better players at Vegas if you don't have a Couchman in your team, I reckon he's a pretty safe VC pick to get you a 45 to 50 for sure. The next guy we're going to have a look at is our first edge, Lukey. I would almost say this, I want to say must-have for Lukey, but I've been burned by him before. He is injury prone. I mean, he's coming back off the injury as well. He didn't play any 2025, but if you look at his 24 stats, in the 64 minutes, which is probably what he gets again this year, averaging 44, he's a really good player to watch in fantasy when he's not injured. Priced at 24, like I think he could be easily the best cashier of Vegas. I think if he can stay fit on the field, that's amazing. I'm just hoping that they don't ease him back in. He looked good in the trial though, so I would almost upgrade this guy to a must-have. I wouldn't. Yeah, at 300k, I'm surprised if there's a lot of teams who fade him, but he'll definitely be in my team. It's just whether if he can stay fit or not. I'm just hoping he can. The next edge we're going to have a look at is McEwen. I think it was a bit of a shock to come in. I think a lot of guys I was speaking to sort of expected that he could come in, either him or Kent. McEwen coming in, I think his stats, so let's have a look at his stats here. In the 73 minutes, he's getting about a 40. He's priced at 32. Is he going to be that guy with a new coach who gets you that 80-minute role? Maybe, maybe not. I think there's a bit of risk with him. If he can get that 80-minute, that high-minute role, which is sort of what he has been doing. Occasionally he plays, he comes off. It's definitely not going to be Lucas who's coming off, that's for sure. He's not going to be their marquee edge. If someone's coming off, it is going to be him with Kent on the bench. I'd say he does get spelled a few times. But I'd probably bring that number down to about like maybe a 36, 38. He does have value, but I definitely think there's some risk with sort of expecting him to make a lot of money. I don't think he will make you a lot of money. I definitely think he'll make you some money. But at that price, it's pretty hard to go wrong with him. I don't think he'll be in my team, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's in a lot of teams coming up. The first half we're going to look at D Brown. I think he's pretty close to a must-have. I think if anyone is, it's going to be him. Stats at halfback. I mean, these ones are all without Mitchell Moses, and he's averaging 60 points there. I definitely think it's going to be less than this. I mean, he's not playing next to some rookie half. He's still going to be playing next to Ponga, who will take some of the kicking off him. But next to Fletcher Sharp, it's definitely a lot better than what it was going to be if he was playing next to Sandon Smith, for sure. So I definitely think that helps him a lot, the fact that he's playing next to Sharp. I would probably put it down more to about a 50 to 55, but priced at 38, like, that's as good as it gets for someone who's 460K to make you that many points of value. I think he is a must-have. I think all the teams in the top 1,000 for the first few weeks are going to have D Brown in them, and you'd just be silly not to take him. For the other half, we're going to look at is Atkinson. Now, this guy's really interesting. So, at the Dragons, you don't really want to take too many Dragons. Like, there's going to be a lot of games where they just come out and get flogged. I think having too many of them, you're just not going to have a good time watching those games sometimes. But Atkinson he does interest me, though. He had, if you look at his games here at 5'8", 39, at price at 35, he does have a bunch of kicking there, so averaging about 260 there. I definitely think that increases. If you look at the trial game here, the one stat that definitely stood out to me was that the fact that he had 18 kicks and Flanagan didn't kick at all. I definitely think he will get the lion's share of the kicking here. He's going to be absolutely booting that ball down from his own end of the field most games. So just in kicking stats alone, I think he's gonna have a really good base at 450 kicking half. You've seen at the Sharks, he has a running game as well. So I think he'll be a really good pick there. It's the only reason why I would steer away from it is because there's so many half options at the moment. Everyone's going to have D Brown, Cleary, Sanders. There's a bunch of halves already. So if you are just trying to get cover and in other guys that have value, that's probably the only reason why I'd steer away from him. But judging off those stats, I reckon he's going to absolutely smash it. For the first center, Chester. What can I say? Centers are hard to come by, especially good ones. For Chester, he's 250K. There is risk with him, for sure. He didn't play any footy at all last year, and he's coming back now. So if you look at his 3 games that he played at center, he averages a 37, and one of those games he didn't play the full game, finish it out. But yeah, priced at 20 at center, a guy who can get you 30 plus is pretty rare at the moment. So he's got that dual. The risk is, though, that when Labert comes back in round 3, that he loses his spot. But, I'm banking that easy draw. He can get you a couple of good points, couple of good tries, hopefully, and keep his spot. And then he can just be someone we just keep at center, or at least as a cover throughout the year until he's ready to cash into someone a bit more safer. But for sure, I'll be starting with Chester. I think there's limited good options, especially cheap ones. I think that he's a pretty safe guy to lock in and at least get you at least 2 good rounds of scores there. The other pick I'm going to look at is Kiraz as well. I think a good pick. I don't like that round 2 buy, but like, what can you say? What more can you say about Kiraz? You look at his offloads. He averages 4 offloads a game. That's actually unheard of. I definitely think he'll be one of, if not the best center picks in the game. I think I might try to target him round 3 to bring him in if my other centers aren't doing it for me. But as a center in Vegas, I think he's going to absolutely set the world on fire. I think he's going to go crazy. I reckon he's just going to be offloading the ball like stupid and doing those little dumb offloads he does in the back when he just chucks the ball back, someone catches it, and he loses 5 meters. But fantasy-wise, you cheer when it happens. So I think Kiraz is a great pick. The round 2 buy really stuffs him up, though. Coming back from that lower leg injury as well, I mean, there is a few question marks on him, but I reckon if he hopefully he has a bit of a low at the start and you can pick him up for cheaper because he's going to come good. He's always a fantasy. He has a fantasy pedigree. I reckon he's going to smash it during the year for sure at some point. Our first winger we look at is Setu 2. I'm not too sure of the pronunciation of that, but that's what I've been calling him. I think he's a good pick, 230K. I mean, there's not much more to say about him. He had a couple of good trials. I think he's got a 30 and a 48 at that price, winger, big body, tackle buster. Although Dragons, so it is what it is. I reckon he'll be a lot of teams for sure. Next guy we're going to look at is Ponga. Ponga is anything he wants to be honest. He could come out and score you a 1 and then next game come out and score you 100. With Ponga, I mean, it's honestly up to him, eh? So what is it? The last 24 and 23, he's averaging 57 and he's priced at 47. I think he has a lot of value. He probably splits some of the kicking off of D Brown as well. I did hear a lot of his talk about him, sort of focusing where he's good at again and trying to do a bit less and just focus on that left-hand side and where he gets all of his attacking stats. So I think it wouldn't shock me if he came out and just started putting on some massive scores. I would love to see it for him, but I think it's someone who I'd have to see his game actually happening live before I take a risk on him. I think at that price, 600, it's sort of close to that Walsh price where he's going to be doing the same thing, and at least he's shown that he's been doing it the last year. Ponga's had that bit of a down year, so if he can prove that he's going to come out and put those scores out again, for sure, I reckon he's a good pick to have. And the last guy we're going to have a look at is Drinky. Another really interesting one, to be honest. 50 break even, and every single year, 49.9, 25, 49.2, 24, 50. Like, he just hits that 50 so comfortably. He usually does find a way into my teams. This guy, he kicks goals. He plays a fullback that plays like a halfback. He runs shape. He takes the line on. He scores tries. And again, that really easy first 5 rounds, or 4 out of the first 5 rounds, it would not shock me if he comes out and he is the number 1 fullback over the first 5 weeks. I think if you're looking at someone around that price, he's definitely going to be a great pod. 5% owned? I'm shocked it's that low based off his draw. But I think there's a lot of other big names that people are going to be swindled by, like the Pongas and the Walshes, that they see the same price and they might grab him. But yeah, Drinky for sure I reckon is probably one of the best pods you can grab in the first couple of weeks. I think he's going to find his way into a few teams, and if he does good, they're going to absolutely take off. Well, that's pretty much it for the Vegas guys. I mean, let me know down below if you've disagree or agree with anyone's, or you think I've missed out on someone who you think is a bit of a smoky. Yeah, but I guess we'll find out in 2 days. So these are the guys I'm looking at locking in anyway. So I appreciate you watching to the end, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.